Good evening. This is a Dibla Torah on Parshas Korach. This parsha consists of a couple of main parts, mostly rebellions by the people against Hashem, Moshe, and Aaron. The story opens with Korach, who was a Levi and a cousin of Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron, saying that that Moshe and Aaron are usurping too much authority, and that they shouldn't be the leaders. And there's also rebellion by 250 members of the tribe of Reuven, led by Datan and Aviram, who were two people who were instrumental in the rebellion against Moshe when he went out into the field time, saw a Egyptian beating a Jewish servant, of which a slave, which I'll have to say more about a little later. And they also, one of Datan's sons was one of the people who helped make the Egel Zahav, the golden calf, which did so much damage to the people. And they're also claiming that they should have the rights to offer the incense. In other words, carry on the duties of the Mishkan, just as instead of Aaron and Moshe. And they're refusing to recognize divine leadership. To the contrary, the next day there is the actual rebellion. Moshe then says, after he tries to reconcile, Moshe then says, if we are truly the leaders that Moshe and Aaron are truly the leaders that Hashem appointed, may the rebels of Korach and his family, may they all die in a unique way. If they simply die in the ordinary way, then I haven't been chosen. And if they do die in a way that has never happened before, then they will, it proves who Hashem commanded to lead the people. Before he finishes those words, all the rebels that are connected to Korach are literally, the earth opens and swallows them up. This isn't even an earthquake, it's something totally supernatural that has not happened before. The 250 members of the tribe of Reuven, when they offer incense, Hashem consumes them with flame. And finally, that's the positive, that is the positive event that shows that Hashem, who is the one in control. Then the people start rebelling and say, you destroyed the good people, Laban and the others. Hashem's ready to send a plague to wipe out the entire Jewish people and start over again with Moshe. Moshe tells Aaron to take the incense, sacrificial incense, and that stops the plague from spreading. God then commands the leader of each of the tribes, plus Aaron, to leave a staff inside the Mishkan overnight, each with their names on it. And whoever is correct, in this case, his staff will blossom with almonds. And the next day it's Aaron's staff that does. And the rest of the parsha is God giving commandments to Aaron and the Leviim who serve in the sanctuary. And at least it ends on a positive note, because it means that people will be getting into the land of Israel. Now, the questions I would like to address tonight are a few. Why did Korach rebel? And particularly, it says in the first part of the verse, Korach lakach, and Korach took. So the question is, what did he take? Third question is, if Korach and his followers had to be punished in a unique way, there were many unique ways Hashem could have killed them. Why did they have to be swallowed up with the earth? That is something you don't see in the parsha either, but any of the parshas before or any of the parshas afterwards. Now, to understand the true dispute between Korach and Moshe, it did not start with Korach and Moshe. In fact, to understand what is going on, we have to go back to the beginning of the creation of man and woman. Adam and Chava had two sons, and Cain and Abel, who were known in Hebrew as Cain and Hevel, and they got into a dispute. Now, one of the versions of the dispute is Cain became upset because his korban was not accepted, his offering to Hashem was not accepted, but Hevel's was. However, there's much more to the story, because when Cain rose up, was going to kill Hevel, it says he rose up, which means he was on the ground. Now, why was he on the ground? Because Hevel got mad at him and knocked him down because he'd asked Cain for for Cain's twin sister in marriage. Cain refused. Hevel knocked him down. Cain became furious, and he murdered Hevel. Now, interestingly enough, Cain was then put into exile, and the question is, Cain and Hevel are the basis for all the souls in the world, and I want to specify that of so who were the Gilgulim, the future soul? Where did these souls go? And in the case of Hevel, in the generation of Moshe, to do tikkunim, to compensate for what he had done by killing his brother, he came back in three separate aspects to do a tikkun improvement on his soul. Now, the soul has 5 parts. I'm going to speak about 3 of them, every person. One is the nefesh, the second is the ruach, and the third is the neshama. Now, to make up for all the sins he committed, he appeared in 3 aspects. One of those aspects was the Egyptian that Moshe killed. Now, Moshe also, so who was Hevel? Hevel became, or died, he became a Gilgul. His Gilgul was Shem, the 3rd son of Adam. And Shem, in turn, sin of the soul of Hevel, went into Moshe Rabbeinu. In fact, 2 of the letters of Moshe Rabbeinu's name hints to it. This is a She and Mem, which is the name of Shem. Now, so to compensate for this, Hevel first appeared as the Mitzri, the Egyptian that Moshe killed. Now, why did he kill him? He killed him because he saw him beating a Jew. Now, who was the Jew he was suppressing? Was the husband of the woman that he had assaulted that he had assaulted the day before. That he'd assaulted the day before, and Moshe stopped that. Now, that was part of a tikkun for Cain, this the Egyptian. Why? Because that partially compensated for the murdering of Hevel. And what did he do in that partial compensation murder of Hevel? The good part of his soul then went attached to Yithro. Now, Yithro was the father-in-law of Moshe, and he converted to being a Jew, and that's why Hevel's neshama. That's why that part of Dimitri's neshama, soul part, attached to him. Now, what is Yithro's role in all of this? Yithro was supposed to be was another part of Hevel's soul. This was the good part. The bad part of, Cain's soul. The bad part of Cain's soul went to the Mitzri. One of the good part of Cain's neshama went to Yithro. Now, so he gave the daughter Zipporah to Moshe. Now, what does that have to do? How does that write things that came from before? Because that Zipporah was Cain's sister's soul resurrected, and that is the second aspect. So that compensated for what Cain had done there. Now, the third aspect, and this was an evil aspect of Cain, went to Korach. This is Korach Lakach. He took, what he was taking was a negative evil side of the soul of Cain, and Cain was going back to his normal role of rebelling. He rebelled against God. He rebelled against Hevel, killing Hevel, and not listening to Hashem's commands. He was taken by jealousy. And same with Korach. He rebelled. And so rebelling against authority and rebelling against Hevel, as he was a Gilgal in Moshe, made sense. Now, why did Korach believe he was going to win? He believed he was going to win because he believed he was going to win because he was a great man, actually. He hadn't had this problem of jealousy, which was also exacerbated by his wife, who said, "You're as good as Moshe, why are you taking a second position?" And he saw prophetically that very important people were going to descend from him, including Shmuel Hanavi, the famous prophet, who also, and not only in his own right, but who anointed David as the first king of the Jewish people. And he thought he was going to succeed. What he didn't realize is that his sons had repented, done tshuva, and that's why he continued. And that's why a couple of the verses of Psalms also appear in the name of one of Korah, the sons of Korach, because they had done tshuva. Of course, he saw those names in the son's name, the Psalms. He saw those prophetically, so he got into that problem again. Now, the remaining question that we have here is why the strange way of killing Korach? Now, on a Parashat level, basic level, one can say this was to scare the rest of the people into following Hashem and show that by the supernatural method that Moshe and Aaron were Hashem's servants and that Hashem was the one in charge, though they didn't learn it initially. As I explained later, the only time they finally believed it was when they saw the staff of Aaron blooming with almonds. And this also goes back. When Cain killed Hevel, the earth took in the blood of Cain and hid it, so to speak, or tried to hide it from Hashem. So the earth was condemned by Hashem, God, for doing that. So what did he do then? So as a compensation for that, to make up for that, the earth, so to speak, to do a tikkun, to fix that, at this time was commanded to swallow up Korach and his whole family. And in fact, they did so. And that fixed that problem. Now, what can be taken from all this is that the whole plan, God's, is far more elaborate, is multi-generational, yet Hashem is setting a goal, and that ultimate goal is the ultimate redemption, the ultimate tikkun of the world. And may we soon be in that era when there will be complete peace. And I want to wish everybody a good Shabbos and a Shabbat Shalom.